And we're back. So, shout out to Aaron at Self Care Brewing. I think it's Self Care Beverages. They do non-alcoholic beer. And this thing's been keeping me afloat all month. Sent me a nice little care package. They have some actually really good tasting non-alcoholic beers. So, cheers to you, Aaron. Appreciate it. Yeah, that's super good. There's actually some really good non-alcoholic beers out right now. Feeling great. Had one little hiccup in the Sober October Challenge, minus the upgrade parts here that you guys are probably more interested in. Long story short, went to David Spade, had dinner before at Chili's, ordered a Heineken Zero, and it may or may not have actually been a Heineken Zero, so sober-ish October. Still feeling great, but if the numbers tell me anything about this channel, you care way more about this new Rockshox suspension than you do about my Sober October Challenge and if I saved a minute or two. So let's get into that. All right. So I failed the challenge because I said I'm not going to upgrade my bike, but my name's Dustin and I'm an upgradeaholic. So let's get into it. So I was kind of torn. I was going back and forth. I did. So if you're new, I had the old Lyrik on. I started with the Pike, 150 mil Pike, and the Air Shock right here, Super Deluxe, last year's. Runs great. I ran the bike pretty stiff, but this thing still did great. It pedals super good. But happened to drop into Bauerhaus, and Jason just had to dangle this absolutely gorgeous coil in front of me and expect me not to want to leave with it. So there's that. And I was kind of over the red. I wanted to try the new Lyrik, the black with the Buttercups. I mean, looks so good. So we're running I kept it, I was going to go long travel coil, big Zeb, have two bikes in one, keep this and the older Lyrik, but I don't know. Sometimes you get bored and you want to try new shit, so here we are. So you guys probably are curious, as I was, hence why I bought it, the new Lyrik. How does it compare to the last gen? Because if you guys know, I'm a big Rockshox guy. I'm just not a fan of Fox. Just nothing. A, looks don't do it for me. B, I can never get them to feel right for me personally. Rockshox has always just been, I've been on Rockshox for I changed my opinion on a lot of shit on bikes, but the one thing that's remained consistent over the last 5-6 years is Rockshox. I can just get them set up perfectly. I don't have to tweak them much, just right out of the box. They just feel exactly how I want a suspension to feel. So I went 150 on the Lyrik and then 140 coil. For those that are super nerdy and care, the tune on this says LNML 320. So I think that means linear and medium rebound, low compression. I don't know. I'm confused on that one. So I don't know what the tune on this is. It just says LNML. If you know what that means, put it down in the comments. Help me out here. This tune on this shock, I believe, is just a standard off-the-shelf tune, but it feels great. I have no issues with it right now. So initial impressions were, let's start with the shock. We're on the shock. Let's start with the shock. Initial impressions. I've had coils on my Evils, the pushes. And I can't really say which one I like better or not because they're on different bikes, different suspension designs, single pivot on the Evil versus this is more of a dual pivot, virtual pivot design. So they react completely differently. So I can't really say, if anyone's curious, hey Dustin, is that new Rockshox coil better than the push? It's as good. I mean, I think the suspension design on this bike I like better. So with that being said, I was a little nervous because this bike's getting kind of heavy. I'm like, God, is this thing gonna kind of turn into a turd on the ups and kind of feel sluggish and slow? And absolutely not. I mean, you do feel that little bit of extra weight every time I put on a coil. I do notice that weight a little bit, but initially, right off the bat, I get out of the saddle. I really liked this bike. I love getting out of the saddle and hammering up steep stuff on this. Some bikes I feel a little bit better seated. Sometimes I feel a little bit better up. This one, up or down. I almost prefer up and out of the saddle and laying the power down. That suspension holds so firm, and you just motor right up the trail. So initial impressions, did feel a little bit squishy when I got out of the saddle. It kind of felt like it dove into that travel a little bit easier than I would have liked. I didn't check any of the clickers on it before I installed it. I just rode it, and going downhill, I mean, it was just perfect, spot on. It was a little bit on the softer side, so I added, this has the hydraulic bottom out control. I added some hydraulic bottom out control resistance, and then I added 1 click of high speed compression, 1 click of low speed compression, and that kind of firmed it up a little bit, and now it pedals, I don't want to say better than the Air, but it's almost as good. I mean, neck and neck. This thing pedals probably I don't have a ton of time on a coil, but it pedals the best of any coil that I've rode. So whatever that is, take it for what it's worth. It pedals great. This bike is, this is the most underrated bike on the market right now. This thing is as good or better than any of the biggest hitters in the game, especially with that coil. It's next level, especially, and then you start going downhill, game over. You do notice the rear tire, like going off of jumps and stuff, it did lose a little bit of that pop, but it's still poppy if you want it to be. If you dig in and kind of, you got to work it a little bit harder, but you can get the thing to pop, no problem. With some, maybe speed up the rebound just a touch if you want to get a little bit more pop out of it, but feeling pretty good. It actually has quite a bit of pop for a coiled bike. So, but that's to be expected. You don't put this thing on to get more pop. So yeah, with a few tweaks on that, I might still mess with it a little bit more, but I got it feeling really, really good. Pedals super good. It's jibby enough, but I also like that ground huggy, just glued to the ground traction that it provides, and it just really flattens out a lot of the like chattery like bumps that we have here. So yeah, the coil so far has just been an absolute home run for me. I have really nothing bad to say about it except that it's heavy, but that's a coil. On to but this shock was great too. Maybe if I do ever get sick of the coil, maybe I'll try the new Super Deluxe Air that has the hydraulic bottom out control and all the new adjusters and clickers, but this thing has just been tried and true. I've had a couple bikes with these, and these have been absolutely stellar. I have nothing bad to say about the standard Airs. Onto the fork, I was kind of, the graphics are really growing on me. I actually liked the last year's graphics a lot better, but now having this on there and then the little Buttercups logo, definitely growing on me. I will say, in my opinion, you might have a different one, I think the Buttercups are the real deal. They are the real deal. I got on this bike with this new fork, and instantly noticeable when going downhill. Just feels plusher, yet stiffer, yet vibrations gone. That was one thing I think I noticed on especially on the Pike, and then sometimes on the Lyrik, the older Lyrik, I felt a little bit more hand vibrations. This one, I don't feel any whatsoever. No more than you would just normally think that you would feel. But a lot of the times we have a lot of those washboardy brake bump stuff, and those, I think they work. I rode it back to back with the last year's Lyrik, which was with a caveat. So that was the C4 air spring. I hear the Lyrik, I've had a lot of Lyriks. I've had the B series, I think B1 and B3. I think the B series is a better feeling fork than the one I just had, which was the C4. So if I were to ride the B series Lyrik back to back with this, it might not be as big of a gap, but the gap between the C4 that I had and this new Charger 3, like, it's night and day difference, game changer. I think Rockshox nailed it, knocked it out of the park. The Buttercups work, the adjusters and the clickers just seemed like they are a little bit more intuitive, a little easier, better design. Everything's laid out real nice. You can just plus minus on your clickers. Everything's great. I have really nothing bad to say except for I haven't even tried these blow off valves. I was actually saving it for this video so I could give you guys the debut of Fox calls them VVC valves, whatever these valves are called, bleed valves. Let's give it a go here, see if we got anything. Nope, nothing. Let's do the other one. Get this rubber thing off there. And nope, nothing. Sorry. That was very undramatic. Yeah, and so there's nothing that came out of those things. I think they're kind of dumb. If you're a racer, I'm sure they're great, and you're shaving seconds and you're doing a lot of up and down lift stuff, but to me it's just kind of cheesy, and I hope in the future they find some way to do without those. I do have a buddy with the same fork, and it does spit out some oil, so I have seen a lot of dirt collect around his where he's been hitting that valve. So I can't even remember what they're called. That's how much I care about them. So other than that, I mean, it's not a make it or break it for me. Like, I wouldn't not buy the fork because it has them, but I do think they're kind of stupid. I'm sure they work. Can you feel it? I don't know. I've been riding this thing I've got 100 miles on this suspension now, and no air came out, so I don't know. You tell me. Let me know in the comments. Are they a gimmick? Probably. But yeah, other than that, I really don't care. The fork feels so unbelievably good. It's 100% worth it. That's really my only negative to say about the suspension period is the weight on this and those valves. I'm just not a fan of personally, but who cares? Integrated fender. Did have some issues with this at first. I just maybe didn't have it lined up right or whatever, and it was really making some weird noise on like some weird compressions. And I thought I was bottoming out my suspension, but come to find out this just kind of wasn't on properly. I think I can still get it to make some noise. It kind of rattles against the side of the fork there. I don't know. I'm not super impressed with that. If it bugs me anymore, I'm just going to put the zip tie one back on. But it is nice to not have any zip ties on there, and it looks cool. So, I can live with it as long as it's not doing anything funky or weird. So that would be my negatives. My negatives, the weight on the shock, not quite as poppy, but more than makes up for it on the downs. I've been crushing some times this month, whether it's because it's been sober October or whether the suspension's so good, I don't know. But I've collected quite a few gold medals this month against myself and on Strava. And, I don't take Strava too seriously, but, it is a nice tool to kind of, if you like testing products and stuff, see what, makes you faster, what makes you slower. Climbing wise, on a 10-minute climb, 10 to 12-minute climb, I'm on par with bikes that were lighter than this. I don't know what it weighs. I'd guess 32 pounds. As is, be my guess. Maybe a little bit under. Testing out some NV AM30 wheels right now. Shout out to the homie. Let me take them out. But yeah, I like them actually. So we'll see if he's selling them. I might buy them off of him. I really like those wheels so far. So we'll see what happens there. And yeah, that's it, man. I'm going to go get my ride in. But yeah, check out on Instagram, Drink Self-Care, non-alcoholic beers. If you guys are doing dry January or, you like the taste of beer, but you don't like drinking that much, these things are killer. They taste great. I feel great. Been crushing the climbs, crushing the descents this month, crushing the suspension. The score is so unbelievably good. It's just one of those bikes. It fits. It feels good. It's fast. It's everything you want in a mountain bike. And where they go from here, I have no idea, because they nailed it. And Rockshox definitely nailed the suspension, this new stuff. Just my opinion. Some might say they don't notice a difference. I'd say 100% noticeable. 100%. And the coil staying on for now, you know, until it bugs me. But I don't know. I've been loving it. So we'll see. That's all I got for you guys. I mean, just a quick little check-in. And Maxxis tires, I just always come back to them, man. They're so good. Every time the Schwalbe stuff is good. I like the Magic Mary and the Wicked Will combo is pretty money. But God, if you can save a half a pound and run these Maxxis, it's just hard to justify. So we'll see. DHR2 has always been one of my faves. Aggressor, you already know. I like it better than the Forecaster. The Forecaster's money, but I mean, I'd run either or. I just lean towards the Aggressor. I do. Dissector's a solid choice as well, but I know you guys love tires. But yeah, this setup right now, it's just in PR machine mode. I love it. This bike is so killer. And I love the color. They just released some new colors. Look badass. Speaking of, God, did you guys see the new Evil colors? Why do they got to do that to me? That new foam roller following. Oh my God. I don't need it. Okay, I gotta go. Peace.